to help human beings. Now, where do you think the flaw in that argument lies?
Well, you have to start a moral argument with some system for evaluating moral judgments. And in practice, the only system that's been consistently accepted is that of utilitarianism, which says you balance your profits against your losses, and you set any disadvantages that have been suffered by animals used in the experiments against the increase in human welfare that results. And I think this is easy to illustrate, say, in the case of polio, where up till the mid-1950s, there were in North America and Europe at least 30,000 patients a year paralyzed or dying from polio. And then through experiments in primates, the polio vaccine was developed, and as a result of that, one can say that there are 1 million people alive and well today who would otherwise have been dead or paralyzed.
If I can take one individual scientist, Dr. Brian Meldrum, what justification, what logic is there in putting a bomb under his car?
I think there's great justification. Brian Meldrum perhaps is one of the cruelest vivisectors in the country. I mean, I can name a great many vivisectors, but he is particularly cruel with the type of experiments that he does.
He didn't strike me as being a cruel man.
He is he's a very heartless man, and I always think it's a great pity that that bomb didn't go off, because I think the sooner that he is killed, the better.
But the work he's doing is going to benefit, he says, hundreds of thousands of epileptics.
He might say that. I mean, obviously he would, because all the time he's saying that and going to Medical Research Council, for instance, and saying, look, I want to do this experiment, can you give me a nice big fat grant, please? Of course he's going to say that, but the experiments that he's been doing for something like 20 years, and still there is no cure for epilepsy.
You have a very low view of this member of the human species.
A very low view, yes. As I say, I wish something would happen to him. This is why I support direct action.
The new pattern of personal violence started 4 years ago. First, there were letter bombs to all 4 party leaders. Last year, there were bomb attacks on 6 scientists' homes. In January of this year, 4 car bombs were planted. In April, the most sophisticated device so far was found under the car of a vet working in cancer research. This time, there was no warning. None of the bombers has been caught. Most of these attacks have been claimed by activists using the name Animal Rights Militia. The ALF has published their latest communiqué.
Every day our comrades and fellow animals
Most of these attacks have been claimed by activists using the name Animal Rights Militia. The ALF has published their latest communiqué.
Every day our comrades and fellow animals stay behind bars, their torment will be avenged, even if this means some of the filth will lose their lives.
Animal rights has given way to the politics of revolution.
Animal liberation must be part of a wide spectrum of revolutionary change. The British democracy is based on more blood, terror and exploitation than any other country in history.
At this end of the movement, labels mean very little. We understand that the ARM are simply ALF activists who've decided to go that much further. It is the grim consensus of the animal rights movement that there will be more and more violence. Demonstrations didn't work, they say. Violence against property didn't work. People are the only target left.
I think the day of the demonstration is almost dead. There is no point in marching 5 miles through streets where very few people give a damn about what you're marching for. So therefore, if the legal campaigning is on the way out, it's got to turn more illegal. And I think there will be more raids on laboratories, more hard-hitting attacks against scientists, and as I say, and it's unfortunate, but I can see the violence aspect of the animal rights movement increasing, and increasing quite dramatically.
You've been arrested and then released for an Animal Rights Militia petrol bombing of someone's home. Now, I don't expect you to tell me that you're a member of the Animal Rights Militia, but how would you defend their tactics?
By saying, as I have said before, that in a war, you have to take up arms, and people will get killed. And I would totally defend their tactics. I will say to you, though, and I can look you straight in the eye and say I'm nothing to do with the Animal Rights Militia. The fact, though, that I support them, I think is neither here nor there. I do support them. Obviously, for many reasons, I couldn't get involved in that sort of action myself. But I can support that type of action by petrol bombing and by bombs under cars and probably shootings at a later stage of vivisectors on their doorstep. I can see that happening. It's a war, and there's no other way that you can stop vivisectors.
These people have said, and I think I believe them now, that sooner or later, and maybe even this year, a scientist will die. It must give you pause for thought.
Well, obviously, but I still don't think it's a reason for stopping scientific research, because in this country there are at least 1 million people whose lives are severely impaired through neurological and psychiatric disorder, and we have to do something to help them, and that's more important than the question of what a few maniacs are prepared to do in terms of damaging or sacrificing human life.
So you are not going to be put off?
No.
You're absolutely sure of that?
Quite sure.
I can certainly foresee more bomb attacks taking place, because the Animal Rights Militia now have planted 7 bombs in the last year. I can't see that they're going to stop now.
And will they kill someone?
I have no doubt. I mean, obviously you don't know what is in their minds, but from what you can read in the papers, it's only been luck, really, on behalf of the vivisectors that they haven't been killed. So yes, I don't think that they are frightened of killing people by any means. So yes, I think they will kill people.
It's a bleak prospect.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's a very promising prospect.
Those chilling, frightening and dangerous words come from a man who says he's a member of our biggest and most respected animal welfare organisation, the RSPCA. Needless to say, he doesn't reflect its views. Indeed, as a result of the publicity surrounding tonight's brass tacks, the police are taking fresh steps to investigate the activities of Mr. Daly.